Alrighty. Hello and welcome everyone to a very exciting fireside chat. Think like an entrepreneur. Today we're going to be speaking to four of our ALX community members. They have all founded their own business ventures. So we're going to deep dive into what that journey has looked like, lessons they have to share, and the value that you too could get by being a part of ALX. My name is Jay and I'll be your host today here in South Africa. Hey, why don't you let us know in the chat, where are you from? And I'm interested to know, are you running or want to be running your own venture? I'm keen. Let me know in the chat. So now, by the end of this, I hope you feel motivated and encouraged, even one step closer to your own goal, as we see the incredible work being done within our community. So without further ado, let's hear from our four members. Let's take it away. And why don't Ife, can you introduce yourself, tell us about yourself, your venture, and what you're up to?
Hey, it's nice to talk to you. It's nice to talk to all the members of the ALX community and my other founders. My name is Ife. Short background for me. I'm the first of three children. I I studied physics for undergrad and then energy systems engineering for postgraduate. And it was while I was doing my postgraduate that I stumbled upon my venture. I happened to be the president of the African Students Union at the time, and I set up this online digital communities on WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, just to get people together and so that we could move from just being on campus to being on having an online community. And while that was going on for a while, I think in 2020, as the campus stopped existing because of COVID, all of the transactions that were normally happening on the campus moved to these online communities that I had created. And it was just a bubbling marketplace with buyers and sellers, mostly students, usually students that are trying to lease an apartment, buy their first car, sell products that they've manufactured, like clothes or shoes. And that was going on for quite some time, for about 3 months, until we started noticing problems with scammers. Scammers would come into the groups, start advertising fake products. And in a particular instance, there was a particular student that I can never forget. Put up an apartment up for lease, took about $500 from about five different girls, and then disappeared with the money, leaving those people stranded with nowhere for them to leave. Had to shut down the groups, had to put some statements out with the police. But then I started thinking about, how do we solve this problem? And I figured that there was going to be an easy way to solve the problem if you had a third-party escrow service. And then I decided to build it. The name of the third-party escrow service is AJ. AJ provides you a marketplace, a dispute resolution service, tokens for participation, and a community in which buyers and sellers can meet, agree on price, delivery fee, delivery location, and maximum time the delivery is going to take place. We hold that value of the delivery fee and the price in escrow, pending both sides agreeing that the transaction is complete. And once the transaction is complete, we release the money to the buyer, completely eliminating any chance of scams on the platform. So that is me, and that is what I do. And I've been very fortunate to be part of the ALX community.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Ife. Very cool to hear what you're up to. Let's hear from Deborah. Can you let us know, what are you up to and about your venture?
Okay, hello everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. My name is Deborah Falope. I'm from Ondo State. I be here in Nigeria. And I'm the co-founder and chief operating officer for AquaTrack. So you could say AquaTrack is a platform that is leveraging technology to improve and advance the aquaculture industry with our comprehensive management tool that help keep our farmers on track, record their activities, and basically manage the activities of their farm, and our community that connects them to other like minds, giving them access to latest market trends. And lastly, our marketplace that gives our farmers large access to a wider market, give them larger market access, right, locally and globally. That's the vision. And then AquaTrack started, it was just a case study between I and my sister. Backstory, we started fish farming in 2020. I and my sisters with my mom, we went into the fish farming industry. But over the years, I'm managing the farm. We discovered quite a number of challenges, like keeping record became an hassle as we kept growing. Yeah, making profits during the glut season too became an issue. Basically, one or two problems that we felt that we could actually solve. So my sister, who's the founder and CEO, decided she's a product designer, but she studied elect in school. I studied computer engineering. So we said, okay, we could come up with something, right, that could actually solve this problem. So that was how Aquatrack started initially as just a case study for our problem in the farm. So I was opportune to sign up for the ALX software engineering program. There I got access to the room and saw the ALX Ventures do have things challenge and to win a 25K grant money for entrepreneurs, basically. So that was where, and that's what piqued my interest. And I was like, wow, this actually sounds great. This opportunity looks amazing. And I actually had like this case study in the back that could actually be something. Okay, why just build it for us? We can build it for others, right? So we decided to sign up, and well, I could say the rest is history. And so far, so good. Everything has been amazing.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Deborah. Ryan, can you introduce yourself? Can you tell us a bit about yourself and the venture that you're on?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity, Jay, and hi, fellow entrepreneurs. My name is Ryan Aprella. I am originally from Nigeria. I live in Accra, Ghana, and I live in school in Kigali, where I'm joining the call from today. And I run outside hospitality, And just a quick backstory. My team and I, we majority of us met at the African Leadership University, like where my co-founder Alex and we noticed that like we had prior experience in the travel and tourism industry. And what COVID did for us was that like we lost what we loved doing, like we lost our jobs, and with our background in tech, sustainability, travel and tourism, we then decided to like build this marketplace that gives more visibility to like local arts, culture, and design spaces and experiences. So think Airbnb meets TripAdvisor. That's what my team and we are building, and happy to be on this call with you all.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Ryan. Cool. And then Elizabeth, can you tell us about your venture that you're doing?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Okulo. I come from Kenya. I grew up near the shores of Lake Victoria that is currently supporting lives of 30 million people. And for my family, the lake has been really crucial in terms of helping us generate source of income and also getting source of food, which is fish. So last year we started Aquaminara as a way of helping fish farmers to do fish farming. So the reason why we started Aquaminara was because we had seen a scenario of people who are transitioning into fish farming. They are having challenges in which they could access necessary inputs as well as get supported. So I started Aquaminara with a reason to help them connect the dots. So what we do at Aquaminara, we provide end-to-end data-driven aquaculture solutions. That is, when they get started with the fish farming journey, they are able to get access to necessary inputs. During the production, we give them services such as water quality monitoring and extension services and training. And by the end of the production, we give them access to market. We started Aquaminara so that we can simplify fish farming, make it sustainable and profitable, so that people who are originally depending on the lake as a source of livelihood are able to also get into aquaculture and have this alternative means of livelihood. And this one is helping them reduce the pressure within the lake as well as the effect of overfishing that has been happening. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Elizabeth. So now we're going to sort of dive a little bit further. And now that you've all got some good context about who our founders are, let's go back into what that journey has looked like. So Ife, can you give us a little bit of a rundown of what that journey looked like for you from the program? What did you gain from that? What are some of those specifics that have helped you to get to where you are now?
Thank you very much. Well, I've had a long journey with ALX. My journey with ALX started in November of 2023. I had applied for the software engineering program in November of 2022, actually. I had applied for the software engineering program in November of 2022. We started the Hoboken School. I made it through the C++. I was building my project. And then while I was still in the software engineering program, completed about 60% of the program, I saw the Founders Academy. And I was only in the software engineering program to improve my skills while I was building my product. And my product was nearly launched. I already got some developers on board. And so I said, okay, this was going to be an opportunity to join the Founders Academy. As David had previously said, there was a reward of $25,000 if you completed the Do Hard Things Challenge and you came in and I'm like, okay, this is an opportunity. Let's get into this. So and that was fantastic. So the software engineering program gave me a lot of low-level assembly language. I was never good with low-level assembly language, and luckily for me, that was in the Hoboken School, so that was useful. When I went to the Founders Academy, that was a whole new ballgame. So we needed to do like a product sprint. So we needed to find out what your product roadmap is, where you plan your product to be in a year. You needed to do financials on your product to see, okay, does the business model actually make sense? Is it going to be profitable? Is it venture backable? You needed to build out the data room, so your company registration, all the requirements that investors could possibly need if you're going to invest into your product. And it was just a whole lot. It was a 3-month affair for the Founders Academy, and we went through all of that, having monthly sprints until the end. And that was fantastic. Luckily for me, I got selected to be one of the top 10 founders in the Founders Academy to the Do Hard Things Challenge. And we traveled to Kigali. It was a wonderful time. Got introduced to multiple investors, multiple industry players. It was a lovely full week in Kigali between the finals of the competition, the Do Hard Things Challenge, and ultimately the African Leadership Network conference that was happening side by side. And that was good. And then by March of this year, 2024, I joined the ALX Accelerator program. And then that took the product to a whole new level because I got 5 new interns that were helping me build out the web application. So the mobile application was already functioning. But then now that I had new staff that I wasn't directly paying, I was able to build out the web application, improve on the services that we're offering on the web. And then they also, now we had a more venture backable data room. We had a brand house. We had multiple people from different accelerators come and talk to us as to where our business is and where we plan the business to be. So yes, it's been nearly 2 years now with ALX, and as I've told you, it's been multiple programs, and we hope that they are now a investment. I'm now a portfolio company on that SAN, so hopefully we can keep the relationship for as long as possible.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks, Ife. I'm going to sort of build on that because there's a lot of amazing things that have happened. I'm curious, like, what are some of the challenges that you've faced? What's the biggest challenge you faced, and how have you managed to overcome that others could learn from?
Well, the way I see it is one of my major attractions to ALX was the key statements, almost like a motto: do hard things. And I watched Fred Fanica speak about the idea, and it was like the whole purpose. If you're privileged to have all your limbs working, to be in good health, to have some privileges in your life where you're not hungry or starving, then your entire purpose is to find the hardest things you can do and try and do them. And the only reason why I'm building this venture is because I currently believe that that's the hardest thing I can find to do. And when it's the hardest thing you can find to do, there are always, every day is a new challenge. Like last week, it was problems with pushing my app to store. This week is the problem that one of my staff accidentally deleted a currency, and then for a day and a half, the app wasn't working, and I couldn't figure out what exactly wasn't working. And I'm sure next week there's going to be another challenge. And the whole purpose of the entire point of it is that you keep doing those challenges, because that's the point of your life, is to get a really hard problem, like going to Mars or going to Pluto. Find something that's so hard to do and then build on it. And hopefully that challenge gives you a purpose for living.
That's awesome. Thanks. That's awesome. Thanks, Ife. And it's really interesting to hear how, there's all these challenges, but you find ways to overcome it and you got to kind of overcome it. You got to keep pushing forward. So now I'm quite keen to hear from Elizabeth. Can you tell us how your journey's gone with ALX, what you learned, and how that's gone so far?
Yeah. Interestingly, my journey with ALX started back in 2018. So for those who are part of ALX right now, we were the first cohort who got into the program. So it means that we were the first lab rats that were taken through the program, and the design has changed until now so that you're able to access these opportunities. And when I joined ALX, I was just a recent graduate with a background in microbiology, and I was looking into getting into entrepreneurship, and I had no idea what running a business is. But during the initial program, ALX helped me to become an entrepreneur. So that is how I ended up starting my first venture called La Famia Greens, and later on it transitioned into AfriFoodie. And now we are here with a new venture called Aquamnara. So ALX has been part of our journey until now. And last year, when I started Aquamnara, I was also able to join the Founder Academy, where we refined the whole business idea and made it a reality. And throughout the program that we started this year through the ALX Venture Accelerator program, the program has enabled us to become ready for investment. And number two, it also gave us access to high quality talent, that I must say. And also we were able to get network with the different individuals, entrepreneurs who are in our field, and also others who are in different fields, as well as access to different opportunities, including access to customers. So ALX has really played a crucial role in my entrepreneurship journey and also in our journey as a Communara. And we are looking forward to, more engagement in terms of building an ecosystem around ALX as well.
That's awesome. And then sort of moving a little bit beyond that, I'm curious to know, like, what sort of market research and data has sort of informed your decision to any potential challenges you maybe had to overcome, anything you've learned from that perspective? Yeah, I'm curious to hear, like, what sort of challenges have you had to face and overcome, and how have you done that through research that you might have done through the markets?
Yeah, so when we started Aquamnara last year, our goal was to build an IoT water quality monitoring device that will enable farmers to do remote monitoring of their fish farm and increase their productivity by 30%. And when we got into the market thinking that, oh, this one is such a novel idea and everyone is going to love it, because some fish farmers were losing as much as $20 million from a whole year of production, as we had seen in the fish kills. So when we did market research, just to further understand the specific needs of these fish farmers, we ended up realizing that these fish farmers actually they have other problems that are really they're really struggling to solve. So these are issues around accessing high quality inputs such as fish feeds, getting access to fingerlings, and also access to a market that can give them, a better offer. So we had to change our whole business model so that we are also able to align to what the market needed. Because on that instance, we realized that these fish farmers are not able to pay for a water quality monitoring devices that we intended to build, because they will cost around $1,000, and the disposable income of most of these fish farmers, they earn less than $3 a day. So it will be hard for them to pay for such kind of innovation. So we had to align ourselves to see like, okay, so currently what are their main issues? How can we solve it together with this? And how can we build towards that as we bring technology slowly into our solution? So that is how the market research that we did informed a change in our business model that was initially a big challenge to us.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks, Elizabeth. And it's very cool to hear how data manages to really inform those decisions. Just shows the importance of data and tech and using it to its advantage. Ryan, can you tell us about the journey you've been on with ALX, how Ventures has helped you with what you're doing?
Okay, perfect. Thanks for the question. For me, I really joined in through the Founders Academy sometime last year. Being a first-time founder, like I really wanted to learn the skills needed to like be an entrepreneur, like to run a startup. So initially I was running my business more or less like a small monetary enterprise. We were doing events, we were doing tours too as well. And then with the Founders Academy program, it helped us to really clarify our business model and how we can leverage tech to optimize our growth. And right after we graduated from the Founders Academy, we had launched a no-code prototype, like a no-code app, just to test if our new business model is something that like people will pay for. And then they did. We got some traction, and which took us to the accelerator program. And with the accelerator program, like we were just now that like you are sure, like you have that minimum concept, are you ready to scale, like in terms of building a more scalable tech infrastructure, to finding additional ways to like generate revenue, all the way down to like ensuring that like the team and the advisory board is in place to like attract investments, like. So that has been my journey with ALX, from the Founders Academy all the way into, then there was an incubator, all the way to the accelerator program.
That's awesome. And any challenges that you might have faced? What's been that biggest challenge you faced, and how did you overcome it?
Or during the journey with ALX, or during like my
With your
personal.
venture. Yeah, with your venture. So you've gone through the journey of going with ALX, and you've got your venture going. What's been like some of the lows in those moments? Like, what are the challenges you've had to face as a entrepreneur?
Okay, like there've definitely been several, like there are some times that like you just come to understand that like it's just a wave. Like there are up waves, there are low waves. And then for me personally, like there are some times that like there are some things that like are out of your control, like as much as you can plan for things, life just happens and you just have to wait, and sometimes like you think waiting is hard, it's something that like you cannot do, but like you just have to go through that process. You just have to be persistent, you know and eventually like those high waves are gonna come, so like you just need to know this. There are ups and downs, and it's a journey, you know. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Ryan. And Deborah, I know you spoke a little bit about your journey with ALX. Is there any other specifics that you feel you want to mention that you felt like this really was key to getting you to where you are now? Things that maybe you didn't know before that you learned through the program. I'm curious to hear if there's anything from that perspective.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much for the question. Well, I keep telling you that for me personally, I strongly believe ALX is truly a blessing, at least for me. You understand? Because they've really, like, where I am currently today, like I do tell people, I can't even tell a success story without like bringing ALX into it, because they really, really, really helped me in terms of what I did not know. Like I earlier said, I studied computer engineering, so I had a little background in tech and all this stuff. I'm also a fish farmer since 2020. So yes, I also had like background in the industry, I had background in the business, right? But like there were certain things I had to learn on the go with ALX, right? Because when we started the Founders Academy, there we got introduced to things like prototype, getting your demo video, your pitch deck, your pitch practice. You understand? So these things were something that I was new to, right? And they had to like put us through. That's when we got to the incubator program. We got opportunity to learn from experts. I also got knowledge in terms of like financials, budgeting, basically a lot of things. Like ALX provided templates that are still even useful in real time, not just for like their deliverables, like something that you'd use on the go as a founder. And there are certain things that I know used to, like, as of then when I started, like I said, running a company is very different from managing a farm, right? So things like pre-seed, things like shares, I was like literally new to all these things, but they were there to keep me grounded. They were there to keep me focused to learn. Like layout always say, learn on the job, right? And one beauty, like one thing I really appreciated them for was the fact that they kept me accountable. Because I get it, as founders, we all have that point in our life where we all get imposter syndrome. And at that point, you tend to like question your business. You tend to question your solutions. You like tend to question even yourself. Like, am I really solving the problem? Am I really doing these things? But ALX was just there to just wake you up and keep you moving, right? So even when I felt down, I knew that, oh, I had like a deliverable to submit. So even if I feel that, I tried to fill up my deliverable and submit, because I don't want Patrick's problem. I don't want Mr. Fred Dent's problem. Please let me just submit. So, and then also the interactive sessions, the meeting like minds, like meeting your peers and seeing people with other amazing ideas. I mean, you don't have a choice but to just get motivated. So even when you're down, they just like have that when they say do hard things, literally, guys, they are not joking. Okay, so yeah, so they really push us to do the hard things, and now look at it. So I was opportuned while in the whole process. I was opportune to be among the top 10 that I went to Kigali, and it was truly amazing. That 1 week was truly amazing. I got to link up with like a lot of founders here, except from Elizabeth though. Since I met with Ryan, I met with Ife, and so many other amazing founders. And luckily for me, Aquatrack even emerged the winner, and we secured the 25K. And that money has been a huge push for Aquatrack. We recently launched our products. That was June, on 7th of June. And it has been nothing short but amazing. And the beauty is that they didn't even let us go. Like some other people will be like, okay, we've done our work. But no, they still kept us under their wings, always keeping up. Later, will still come to my DM, Debbie, how is marketing? Are you pushing? I mean, most people won't really do that for you, right? I mean, it's a win-win situation. They've already given you all the resources you need, but the fact that they still make sure that they want you to be accounted for, like they don't want you to fall behind. Like for me, that's like a truly amazing thing from ALX Ventures, the accelerator program. Also, the continuous, I keep mentioning pushing, guys, but like we have like these weekly pitch sessions that we usually do in the recently accelerator program we just finished. And I never knew the benefit of this stuff till I was opportunity to join like a ALX program from Wema Bank. And believe me, when I tell you that I was so fluent, I was so confident, and that was when I knew that, okay, so reciting I teach every damn week came with a price, because like my business was literally part of me. I didn't need to do much. I didn't need to crack my brain. I didn't need to read off anything. I was so used, like all founders have this confidence that, oh, okay, it's my product now, but it's a lie. Practice makes perfect. Okay, so they just literally keep you accounted for. So yeah, so basically that is just it. So they've been nothing short of amazing to I am my startup.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's a really interesting to hear how like there's also that need for like continuous learning. You know, you're always constantly learning. And I think in that, that same sort of question to you, like as an entrepreneur, what's been your biggest challenge that you've had to face with your venture, and how did you manage to overcome that?
Okay. So I'll keep from one thing first said, like as a founder, challenges will keep on coming every damn day. But personally, I feel like one biggest challenge is that founders might not really want to admit, but it's basically one of our biggest challenges. That is market adoption. Because, like we all know, you think of an idea, right? But you're not necessarily the first. There's something similar, or people were using something before you felt like you want to improve this thing. So yeah, market adoption has always been a major problem, especially in my line of work, because a lot of my farmers are used to the traditional methods of manual records, of recording in books and pen. So it's not really easy to get people, like, it's not really easy to get people to like leave what they've used for years and want to like adopt into technology. I mean, even ourselves, before we started using mobile banking, we all went to the bank. It wasn't really easy. Most people, even till now, I know most people don't even still believe. As of then, most people would still be buying recharge card outside instead of using their bank to like recharge their phones. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So, but with time, like we got used to the system. So now, as a new founder in this kind of space, you need to like that situation whereby you need to bring your users to use your product, right? And leave whatever they are used to and like get to like not just sign up but use it. Because me, I'm not all for just signing up and getting numbers. I'm all for using my product and like knowing and getting the value for it, right? So like this is the major problem as a founder personally that I am really, really tackling. So the solution we came up with was like we are hosting trainings, we go to farms, right? We go to farms to onboard our farmers. We keep on hosting like info sessions, webinars like this, just to keep our farmers informed and like let them see that, okay, it's time to let go of these things. These things are not really helping. They're not helping you scale. They're no longer profitable, right? Like getting them to see the value Aquatrack is bringing to the table. So yeah, so basically it's been a whole lot of work because farming is more of a private sector and stuff like that. But so far, so good. I believe we've been doing amazing. The turn up has been amazing, and well, like I said, so far, so good. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Deborah. So I want to tap a little bit on something that Elizabeth actually mentioned about data and insights and using those. And Ife, I want to actually ask you, is there any moments in that way that data and having to do market research inform the venture that you guys have gone on, informed any decisions and made you have to adjust along the way?
It's been a constant process of pivoting and adjustments. So as I said, in the initial stages, when we first came across the problem, we were like, okay, I wasn't even thinking about building out the product at the time. I was like, okay, maybe if we could verify all of the users, verify their locations, if there's ever a scam, there's somebody we can report to and get the money back. And we thought we had it wrapped up to a T. We got everybody to post their passport numbers. If you're a member of this group, post your locations. We quickly found out that the scammers had passport numbers of random people and they post locations of random people, and it was very difficult to verify that information going house to house without any resources. So we moved to the next pivot. The next pivot was, okay, let's generate an invoice and then let us hold that invoice. But then we found that it was very difficult for them to generate invoices using social media, that we had to build a marketplace of our own. And then that's when we started building the marketplace of our own. And then even after we had built the marketplace, the first issue we found out was when it was time for dispute resolutions, because we didn't use to separate the delivery fee from the price. And then when it was time, when there was a dispute, it was very difficult to say, okay, how much, if somebody had taken the time and the effort to come and deliver a product and you didn't like it, he wants at least his delivery fee back. And then because you took all the money in a lump sum, it was very difficult to divide how much of it was delivery fee. So then we had to build out do some API changes, okay, separate how we collect the money so it's easy to dispose during dispute resolution. And we collect data. We ultimately believe we're going to really be like a data company. We're going to help. We collect data now on all of the individual disputes so that we can build an AI dispute resolution system that can give recommendations to dispute resolutors to say, okay, after seeing all the conversations and seeing all on everything that has happened on this trade, this is what I recommend. The artificial intelligence gives a recommendation to dispute resolution so that we can. Right now, it takes about 3 hours or 4 hours to for an easy dispute to be resolved. For a more complicated dispute, it takes more than 24 hours because we have asked to submit documents, submit pictures, it takes some time. So the idea then is to improve on that. On that, we need to start taking data, training something so that it's much easier for us to even pre-meeting a buyer, there's already enough profile on the user to say, okay, what are the percentage likelihoods of a dispute based on previous transactions? So we are constantly collecting data. We are the users determine the direction of our product. So once the users feed us with the data, whether positive or negative, we then use that. We're an innovative company, and in that sense, we want to push an update to the store once every 2 weeks, and we are getting all this information from our users, and they say, okay, this is not working. We don't like working with this. We want to work with a different platform. We do our best to integrate that and proceed to the next. As I said, the point about it is to take on as many challenges as possible and see how many of it you can solve.
Yeah, definitely. And I imagine going through those challenges, I mean, there's a certain mindset, sort of certain level of values that you need to uphold, even in, those that are working for you at the company. What are some of those values that you look for in someone that really stand out to you as, this is what you're going to need to sort of be able to get through these kinds of things?
I've said this before and it sounds a bit controversial, but in my mind, it's been what at least all of the current staff that we have, one thing I think was very important in the culture was every single one of them had a point in which we were not paying them any money to work for us. As in, all of our staff had often come in first on a voluntary basis, and then before we take them up on a full-time basis or a contract basis. And in my mind, it's important to culture because people who are willing to work for free see something that they want to improve in themselves or in the product, that they are willing to say, okay, even if you are not going to pay me anything, I still want to do this work. And it translates to future work because they need less supervision. People are willing to take on challenges on their own. When they notice problems, they don't try to hide it away from you. They are on hand to solve the problem because the culture already is a culture of, even if I was not getting any money for this, I was going to do it anyway. And I believe, and that in my mind is the best thing about our company culture, because I work for free virtually all through. I'm still working for free. And everybody that comes in, you have this 3 months to 6 month period, depending on what stage you're coming in, where, hey, if you're not willing to do it, it's not, we're willing to pay you, but we want you to show us an initial commitment to our vision. And then once you've been able to integrate with the culture, it's easier from there.
Awesome. Awesome. And I really hear that need for resilience coming out of you've also got to be very resilient, very open to humility. So it's very, very awesome to hear how people are needing to overcome those big challenges that happen. And I'm going to sort of ask the same sort of question to you, Ryan. What sort of values do you look for in someone? Do you feel are necessary to really have that mindset, even the mindset of an entrepreneur? What sort of values do you feel someone needs? Like you yourself, what values do you stand by?
Okay, thank you for this question. And right before I unmuted, I was like, man, like Ife and Jay just summed up all the values that like I stand by. But like just like mention a few, like the number one that like I really stand by is creativity, so like being able to do things in a creative manner. Like I really value anything arts, anything creativity, anything design. And on top of this too, I value people who are curious. I value people who are innovative. And I really just value people who are also like very much resilient. Resilience definitely comes with humility, like as I mentioned earlier on, like it's a wave, so like you just have to be prepared to like go through the storm and just know that like things do get better. So like I really prioritize people who have these qualities. Like I feel like they are the best people. And sometimes like it's more or less about intuition. Like you just know, like when you meet someone. It didn't take me long to like bring on board my head of engineering. Like you just know, like you meet and you know. It also didn't take me long to bring in the head of operations. Like you just meet and you know that like this person is the right person for the business, and they are willing to like just go the journey with you.
That's awesome. So really having that openness and that willingness to be a part of, and it's really, really interesting to hear how you say sometimes you just connect with someone and it just snaps. And when you speak about this, things just sometimes pick up. You go through these storms and things pick up, and there's this, feeling of success. What's been a big highlight for you? Like, what's been your biggest highlight moment where you felt like this is peak, this is the success we've been looking for? What's been your biggest highlight so far on your journey?
Okay, the biggest highlights, oh, there have been a couple. Just recently, I mentioned like I brought in a head of engineering, and the head of engineering, just to talk about his prior experience. He was with a company that was in Y Combinator, and the other one was in Texas. So like just bring him on board. Like even God knows how like I'm able to like afford him. Like just him accepting to join our team was really pivotal. And on top of that too, like it's been the partnerships that like we've been making the past few weeks. For example, with the Chamber of Tourism here in Rwanda. And yeah. So like these just at the top of my mind, like these are some that I can share that like just really makes me excited, you know.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And just for everyone watching, if you have any questions for any of our founders, please drop them in the chat. In the next couple minutes, we're going to get to this round of Q&A. So if you have any questions, anything that you'd really like to know about being an entrepreneur, anything about their journey, anything that would really help you, please drop the questions in the chat now. And in the meantime, I'd like to ask the same sort of question to Elizabeth. What sort of values do you look for in someone, do you feel is necessary? And then we'll move into what's been that big success highlight for you?
Yeah, so in terms of the people that we're working with, some of the key values that we look into, number one is impact. So we are a company that is working with profit with purpose. So it is not just about making the money, but also like, is what you're doing, is it going to impact one life or two lives, whichever the way you're going to contribute towards it. And then the other aspect, are you really passionate about what you're doing? So if you're not passionate about it, we won't consider working with you. Then the other one is around collaboration, and collaboration comes more with also accountability, where normally if you're working with us, you also get to take ownership in terms of leading some of the projects within the company. And also we hold you accountable for the success and also the failures that might happen along the way. As well as innovation is also a critical core value for the business in particular. And as we work with you, as we move towards in terms of delivering our services to the customers, how innovative are you with your thoughts? How innovative are you with the feedback that also you get from the customers? Yeah. So the other question that you had asked in terms of what has our biggest success been so far. So until now, we've been able to reach out to around 160 fish farmers, and the biggest success was training them and also seeing them being able to implement all some of the aspects of the training programs that we hold into their business. And also one of the key customers that we worked with, they were able to increase their production by 30%. So that makes us really happy. And last month we were doing a case study for one of the farmers. And when we went to his farm, he had already expanded his operation. So initially, when we started working the journey with him, he had only 1 pond, and currently he has like 3 ponds and has been able to employ 2 more people from his community. Those kind of success stories are what keep us going and also make us to have all this ambition of moving forward in terms of impacting more lives of fish farmers.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks, Elizabeth. So I'm going to start looking at some of the questions now. And I do see a couple have come in. So again, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat now. I'll ask our founders your questions. If there's anyone in particular you'd like to ask a question to, also let me know, and we can ask them in particular. We have a question about what was the no-code tool you used? So what would be that most beneficial no-code tool you used? I'm going to throw this first to Deborah. What has been the most beneficial no-code tool you use?
Okay, thank you for the question. But currently, AquaTrack is actually built with codes. We didn't use a no-code tool to build AquaTrack. So we have like our front end and back end using like Laravel, using other stacks, right? So we didn't opt for a no-code tool. Yeah.
Awesome. No, I mean, brilliant. Also good to know where you're at. And I see, Ryan, you'd like to answer this question. What's been that no-code tool?
Okay, so perfect. I was the one who actually mentioned that like we started off for like a no-code tool, and there are a couple of them out there. There's Softar, SOFTR, there's Webflow, but like right now we've moved away from that to like a more scalable infrastructure, more like on the main full stack side of things. But like initially, like just get the proof of concept. Like it doesn't hurt to like use like a no code tool, which is what we used, and we made money through like that no code tool, So yeah.
Awesome. I'm gonna throw it to Ifed. Is there anything from your side? Is there any no code tool you use that you find very beneficial?
Well, I've used a couple of no-code tools. Figma has a developer tool within it that is almost no-code that helps you develop. If you pay for the premium Figma, that's cool. I've used a couple of them, but I just use them and then I forget what I've used, and then I go to Google to find another one. In my mind, no-code tools are good for websites, for web applications that have multiple iterative processes. Knowing the code is important now. That might change in a year's time when the technology is a little bit better, when it's far. The ChatGPT and all of the neurons it uses is improving exponentially, billions of neurons, trillions of neurons, and maybe next year it'll be much better. But currently, the no-code tools help you set up, give you like an initial idea of what your code looks like. But you ultimately need a developer on board that's going to help you to, especially when you have iterations, when you need to make changes. And if you're making changes on a daily basis, weekly basis, if like the way we run, where you're having like weekly sprints, no-code tools can't help you. The best you can do for you is to help your developer perform a bit faster, but it's not going to help you run your product, not as it is now, but maybe in a year's time, we'll be talking something completely different.
Awesome. Thanks, Ife. Deborah, I am going to throw this one to you. There's a question of what was the most important aspect of the market research that you did? So maybe you could speak a little bit about that, about the market research and the most important aspect that you did.
Yeah, okay. So thank you very much for the question. Okay, so for me, one important market research that I did was making sure that I was actually solving these problems for my target users, right? So like I said, like I mentioned earlier, I'm also a fish farmer. So I'm basically my product's first user. But you can be sure you're solving a problem for yourself, but you have to validate that you're going to solve a problem for others, right? So one important market research I did was I carried out a market survey. So I got to visit like numerous farms ranging from large, medium to small scale. And then I had to make them feel like a souvenir and like really check if this was a problem I'm solving for them. Also, then we had like our prototype. So I got to let them play around and use our prototype and see if it's something they could easily adapt to, and if it was something they could easily like assess. And then secondly, too, like I said, you don't really expect us to like know every damn thing, because at some point too I was struggling with getting our SAM, TAM, and SOM. So TAM is in total addressable market, serviceable addressable market, and serviceable attainable markets, right? So now these are like actual data that need actual numbers. So luckily we were able to use like other research websites, like we used them FAO. We also did like WorldFish. These are like some sites that you could get like data. But we noticed that some data, like we had like mostly data from like far back as in 2020, 2022, no recent current data. So it was really a hassle trying to wrap my head around that. Yeah, I think if ever helped me at some point. But basically, yeah, validating your product is for me, I feel like it's even the first step, right? Validating that product, making sure that yes, these people agrees that okay, yes, this is going to solve their problem. And then you can now focus on the numbers, because as you keep growing, once you get to like meet investors or get partners, most of them now want the numbers, which is your TAM, SAM, and SOM. So thereby you need to like hire, probably I myself, I had to get like a data analyst, because that's not my strong suit. And like Mr. First Wanika will always say, hire people that are better than you. And like I said, I admitted that I don't know it all. So yeah, like I'm still learning on the job, but yeah, I had to hire like data analysis to come up with the actual data, and still did the little I could on my own. But yeah, so far so good. It was just we're done with that area. At least we know our Samsung and like by heart, and we've also validated our products. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Elizabeth, I know you answered something similar to this, so I'm actually going to ask Ryan. I'm going to ask you the same sort of question. What was the most important aspect of market research that you did?
Okay. The most important aspect is really trying to understand where our tourists are coming from, and if they truly did prefer sustainable preferences. Like some of this data we got from sites like the World Travel and Tourism Council, others we got from UN Tourism, and there were some that like we just mined from free data that is out there. But like what we had to do was to like clean this data and to like ensure like it fits our context. But like aside from that, like Deborah, I very much also used to work in the tourism space. Like I've worked in this space for like 10 years now, like being a culture and creativity curator, doing events on the side, like, and very much also like doing tours. So like all this influence, like all this like influence strategy in a way, yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then we've got a last question. If there's any others, feel free to leave them there. But this might be a good one. And we can add on to this one. I'm gonna give this one over to you, Elizabeth. So we've got a question that says, I'd like to ask, if you have an innovative idea, one thing that is going to push to build that project is through discipline and grit, also motivation. How did you guys get the right mindset? So how did you get the right mindset? And being an entrepreneur, and maybe to tap onto that is, what are those words of encouragement that you could give someone wanting to follow the same sort of journey that you're on?
Thank you for that question, Sarah. My journey into entrepreneurship actually started a long time ago when I was still in campus, and the thought of I want to become an entrepreneur and I want to create job opportunities for people from my community, for young people like myself. That is the kind of thing that really guided me along the way. And to get started, I got a job to work with some farmers. And one of the things, I didn't have like any particular background in terms of training farmers with on entrepreneurship skills or anything at that time. So, and I remember one person coming in and telling me that, if you want to start a business idea, just do it. You don't have to really overthink. And because if you think about the idea, it might take you longer, and before you realize it, you are 60 years and you haven't started implementing your business. So as long as you get started, you're able to make certain milestones around it. Then also you really need to have business acumen, and by this key aspect, for me, it was shaped by the people around me, and also Alex contributed by introducing the kind of mindset I really needed to have as an entrepreneur. And also, what really mattered along the way was learning to know your staff as a person. So the aspect of storytelling, and also combining your own purpose with your business purpose, so that you're not doing something because you want to make money out of it, but because you really know that, I'm going to make this contribution. And for me right now, the driving force is because I'm seeing people from my community suffering, not being able to get enough fish or get a job from the lake because of the overfishing and reduction in the stock. So I'm like, okay, can I create more opportunities for people in my community? So this one is kind of the guiding light that makes me wake up every day, even if the business is making money or not making money.
You're muted, Jason.
You're muted.
Classic. There you go. I was so caught up in asking the question. Ife, can you answer the same sort of question? Maybe even speaking on those words of encouragement, but maybe it would just be nice to sort of speak on that big highlight moment for you on this on your journey. What's been that big highlight moment, and what words of encouragement can you give after that?
Well, to be very honest, if you had told me 5 years ago that I was going to be an entrepreneur, I would have said no. I would have not just said no, I would have said it was totally impossible. I was at the time doing my PhD. I was doing some research with nanoparticles and artificial intelligence, and I truly thought that as soon as I was done with that, I was going to find myself in a different lab doing similar work. But then COVID hit, and then it made me start thinking about my life as to the the thing about COVID was that it made you face the consequence of death. It was like, I don't know if I need to get this disease. And if I get it, I could die in the next like 2 months or 3 weeks. Like, what would I have really said that I did with my life? Exactly. I was sitting in the lab writing papers and nobody was reading. It's like, is that really what I want to do for the next 30, 40 years? And at the same time, this problem was in the heat, the problem I was trying to solve was really like facing me. I was trying to solve issues with the police. I was seeing how this was affecting life. I'm like, so if I have a choice to sit down in the lab for another 3 years doing experiments or trying to solve this problem, it's a similar experiment. You don't know whether you're going to be successful or you're going to fail, but it's an experiment that has real life consequences where it can touch millions of people. What would I rather do? And that was how I found myself like, you know what, whether I make money or I don't make money, I have enough to eat. I will just sit down and see whether I can solve this problem. And if I do, then that's a much more interesting experiment. And then from an experiment, you grew up to be in business, started employing people. So my word of encouragement for people is this. If you see a problem that is nagging on your mind, that you can't sleep and you're thinking about it all the time, it's best you sacrifice your life to try to solve the problem. It doesn't matter how big the problem is or how small the problem is. If there's a problem and there's nobody responsible for fixing it, be the person responsible for fixing that problem. And who knows, you might be successful at solving it and you might fail at solving it. But even in failing, you would have gained so much more that will be useful in other things. So it's not like the goal is to have a successful business. Not everybody. 1% or less 0.1% of all business started will succeed in the next 5 years. So the odds of you being successful is really low. But however, just by being responsible, but taking on that issue on yourself, it opens so many other doors. Like I'm in this conference room now talking to you, talking to Debbie. None of this would have been possible if I didn't just choose to say, okay, let me try to solve the problem, which is my only word of encouragement.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm gonna ask the same thing to Ryan. Same thing for you. What's been that big highlight, and what's the word of encouragement you can give to others looking to follow the same journey as you?
Okay, in terms of highlights, there have been a couple, but like on the latter, like encouragement, I would just say just start, like start, but like start with the future in mind, like just know where you're going. I would like to say be tailor focused, mission tailor focused, and just be ready to fail and learn from that process. And treat every day as day one, I guess.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then Deborah, I'm going to ask you the same question as we start getting around to concluding. What's been biggest highlight for you, and words of encouragement you'd want to give others going on this journey?
Okay. Well, for me, like Ryan said, I wouldn't say I've really had one highlight, because I'm sure everybody here by now knows I'm very big on how far ALX have brought my startup. So, but I would like to use myself as an example to encourage other people here currently listening to this. Like, sincerely speaking, last year, if someone would have told me I would have attained the level of height or the level of exposure I have now as an entrepreneur, I'll probably say it's a lie. I've always known that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, right? I've never really loved the idea of a white collar job. But the level at which I have grown, not just as a person, you understand, but as someone running a business, I would have said, okay, you're probably lying or something. So I will want to use myself as an encouragement to people that are starting out. Don't feel discouraged. There are a lot of amazing ideas out there, but yours matters too. Yours matters too. And you're going to fail. You're going to get a lot of rejections. That's just the sad truth. You're going to get, at the point, you might be getting rejections back to back, but that is not an edge for you to give up. When I was opportune to be among the top 10, there were quite a number of amazing ideas there too. People that have even launched. And as of when I went to Kigali last year, Aquatrack was still an idea. Though we had our prototype, or basically it was still an idea, but emerging first, right, with nothing but a prototype. I feel like that's the biggest motivations you can have, because you might be in a competition with people that have raised revenue, with people that have launched, but at the end of the day, you can still stand out. So don't feel discouraged, keep moving, and most importantly, stay committed. At the end of the day, people, when you tell yourself, I can do this, right? You need to keep telling yourself that you can do this. Like I said, there are days you wake up feeling bad, imposter syndromes, but don't let that weigh you down. Instead, you think of the little wins, you think of the ones you've achieved. And don't forget, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step. So I'm rooting for every single one of you listening right now that want to start your entrepreneurial journey. And of course, I hope to see you guys at the top. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. And I just want to leave a thought to reflect on for everyone watching. What is your own personal goal and mission? What is the thing you are striving to achieve and get to? I know I feel motivated. If you want to find out more about our founders, you can find them online. You can look up way more about them. And I just thank you, everyone, for your questions. And of course, a massive thank you to the four of you for joining us today and answering these questions and providing this immense value. It's incredible to see the work that you are all doing. With that, then, I bid you all goodbye and have a fantastic week forward. Be sure to look for our intakes on the ALX Africa website. There's also ALX Ventures for our founders. You can gain these entrepreneurship skills even from ALX Pathway and our professional foundations. It is the core of ALX. So we hope to see you too, a part of our ALX community. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
I don't know how important your